Hello. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, I hope you stick around. The final part of Affair is done. I promised I'd post it today, so sorry if the editing feels a bit rushed, there was just so much to edit. This part is clearly the longest out of the whole series, but I just had too much fun writing it. Now on to the warnings. My content is almost never censored, that goes for curse words, mentions of the sideways tango, etc. So without further ado, let the story begin. Welcome. This is final part, so if you haven't read part 1 through 4, please do. Warning. All of my stories contain no censoring with cursing, sexual scenes and other things too. Trigger warning. Infidelity, cheating, arranged marriage, angst, fluff, some 18+ scenes etc. All good? Let's go. The first week without seeing Kayumi was a rough one. Atsumu stayed in bed the majority of the time, not having the energy to move. His twin brother became worried and visited on the third day to find Atsumu pale and weak with puffy eyes from him crying. Osamu did the best he could to help Atsumu get back on his feet. Cooking him meals, helping pick up around the house to help ease his brother's mind. Osamu's fiancé came to help as well, being one of Atsumu's closest friends. He was worried about the blonde. Suna didn't bother with asking for the reason why Atsumu was acting like this, but Osamu knew exactly why, and it pissed him off that his twin went that far to actually get in a physical relationship with a soon-to-be married man. The younger twin sighed. He's honestly disappointed in brother, but he can tell Atsumu really does love that man. He just wishes the circumstances were different. After a week of the blonde being stuck up in his room, Osamu had enough of it. He barged into the room, making Atsumu mumble a complaint. Samu, get out, I wanna be alone," he said while pulling the blanket over his head, trying to hide away from the word. Osamu stomped over to the bed and yanked the sheets off of his brother and looked at him with an upset expression. "Listen here, you little shit." Atsumu let out a small gasp at the insult, but before he would retaliate, the younger twin cut him off. "You always said you'd never cry over a man, yet here you are, crying over some guy that isn't worth it." "Omi is worth it. Like hell he is. He is. It's all my fault, I shouldn't have gotten involved with him. I didn't think I'd fall for him," the blonde complained, hot tears forming in his eyes. "But you did." "I know. I just wish things were different." "Well, you could have told him how you felt." "And what? Ruin his chance at a normal life?" "Why would you say that? If he marries her, he won't have to be criticized for who he's married to, plus it's not like I'm able to give him children if he wanted any." The tears started to pour out of his eyes. Osamu walked over and sat on the bed, pulling his brother into a tight hug. "I know, but if he loves you, then why run away from him?" Atsumu wiped his eyes and put on a sad smile. "Kayumi doesn't love me. Do you know that for a fact? It's clear. I was just his side piece, nothing more." "If you say so." Osamu patted the blonde's head, ruffling his hair. "Well, get your ass out of bed. We're going out. Right now." "Yes. Come on before we leave your sad ass behind." "You wouldn't dare. Try me." With that, Osamu practically bolted out of the room, leaving Atsumu scrambling to get ready, yelling at his brother to not leave him. They decided to go to the mall and shop around, trying to brighten Atsumu's mood. And it was working. He seemed to be happier finally getting out of the house after being stuck up in there for a whole week, but who would have thought luck wasn't on his side that day. As they were waiting in line to order some food in the food court, a soft voice called out to Atsumu. "Atsumu? Is that you?" His whole body stilled. He hoped that it wasn't who he thought it was. He had no idea he's run into someone this quickly. Atsumu took a deep breath before slowly turning around, giving them his best forced smile. "Suzuki-chan." She smiles and walks up to him. "No need to call me Suzuki, you can call me Miho like you used to," she said rather cheerfully. "What are you doing here?" "I was doing a little bit of shopping, but luck must be on my side today because I've been meaning to talk to you about Kayumi." Atsumu swallowed. His thoughts began to race. Does she know me and Kayumi slept together? Is she here to yell at me for sleeping with her fiancé? She must know, why would she even need to talk to me? "Atsumu." She waved a hand in front of his face. "Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I'm okay. What did I need to talk to me about? Well, I was wondering if we could talk in private. Private? Sure. She smiles and takes a hold of his arm and looks over to Osamu. Sorry to take your brother like this, but this is quite important. With that, she began to drag him off to a more secluded part of the mall so they'll be able to have a chat without any disturbances. Once they reached their destination, Miho looked at him directly in the eye and asked him, "Why did you stop being friends with Kayumi? What? You two haven't been hanging out this past week and Kayumi is a complete disaster." Did you two get in a fight? No, it's just. Did he do something to piss you off? No. Then what happened? Nothing. I just don't want to ruin your relationship with him. How? Because I'm in love with him. I just can't bring myself to get between you two. Yeah, getting married in 2 weeks. I can't do that to you. She became silent for a second before giggling softly. What? Atsumu looked at her confused. I'm sorry. I just find your little confession adorable. Huh? I could tell you were in love with him, and I knew you two were seeing each other behind my back. Tears began to form in his eyes again as he shot out apologies. I'm so sorry. I was dumb to try and get involved with him. I knew he was engaged but still tried something with him. No number. It's okay. It did hurt a lot at first, but I'm honestly over it. He'll never love me like he loves you. I'm sort of glad it's you who won over Kayumi's heart. Dart. Huh? What do you mean? Kayumi is in love with you, silly. But he's not. Trust me. He is. He's been down for the past week and is constantly checking his phone. For I assume is a response from you. But I can tell he truly does love you. Honestly, he would rather marry you than me. But he deserves a normal life. He deserves a happy life. And that life is with you, Atsumu. The blonde fully broke down crying, trying his best to wipe away the tears, but they kept falling. All Miho did was lean up against him and rubbed his back. His heart was happy that his love was reciprocated, but Kayumi is still engaged to Miho. What about the wedding? She just looked up at him and smiled. Don't worry, I already have a plan. Oh. During the next couple of weeks, Atsumu was dragged from place to place, looking for the perfect outfit. For what, you may ask? You'll need to be patient. Soon enough they found the perfect outfit. You look so pretty. Miho smiled, wiping a tear from her eye. He'll be so happy to see you in this. Thank you, honestly, for everything. It's no big deal. I'm rooting for you too. They smile at each other. Atsumu happy he's gained a new friendship out of this whole ordeal, and hopefully a lover as well if everything goes according to plan. Soon the big day was here. It was Miho's and Kayumi's wedding day. The chapel was filled with family members from each side, chatting away as they wait for the wedding to begin. Just outside the entrance, Kayumi was pacing back and forth in his tux with his best man leaning against the wall next to him. I can't get married to her, I don't love her. His best man raised an eyebrow at him. That wasn't a problem before. Shut up, Komori, that was before. Now it is a problem. I can't get married to her when I have someone that I love out there. That's news to me, but it's too late for that now, cuz. Stop being right. You know I can't do that. Komori said with a chuckle. But who knows, maybe you'll fall for her? No. Don't be all grumpy, it's your wedding day. You're getting hitched. It's time to get in there and see your bride walk down the aisle. Is it really time to start already? Yep, come on. Don't get cold feet. He said as he started to push Kayumi into the building where they were met with his mother. Hi darling. It's time to start. Everyone is waiting for you. She spoke as she hooked her arm around his. He took a deep breath as the music began to fill the building and the doors opened, revealing them too. They began slowly walking down the aisle to the end of the pews, where he leaned down for this mother to place a kiss on his cheek and whispered a quiet good luck in his ear. He stepped into his spot, resting his hands together in front of him as the groomsmen and bridesmaids began making their ways down the aisle as well. All that was left was the bride to make her way down the aisle. The iconic wedding song began to play softly and everyone stood up to watch the bride, but no bride came. The music continued to play as Kayumi stared at the entrance, confused as to why she's not here. She should be in her wedding dress and walking down the aisle, but she's nowhere to be seen. The music stopped as everyone began whispering amongst themselves. Kayumi's father looked at him unimpressed, silently ridiculing him for his future wife's absence. But soon the room was quickly filled with gasps as a pair appeared at the other end of the aisle. Kayumi looked and couldn't believe his eyes. There stood Atsumu, in a white tux and a veil placed over his head. Right next to him was Miho, not in her wedding dress but a slick navy blue dress. Their arms were linked and they began to make their way down the aisle. Everyone eyeing them with confused looks, but soon enough the music began to play. It felt like eternity watching them walk to him, but when they finally made it, Miho patted SakuAtsu on the shoulder with a smile. "You deserve to be happy, and I know it's with him. Not me." She turned to face Atsumu and gave him a tight hug. "You'll go great." Miho smiled up at him before walking away from the couple. Kayumi reached his hand out, taking the blonde's in his and helping pull him up on the platform. You look beautiful." He spoke softly. Kayumi couldn't quite put what he was feeling into words. He was so happy Atsumu was here. He always dreamt of having a wedding with him instead of Suzuki, and now it's a dream come true. Atsumu smiled and rested a hand on Kayumi's cheek. "Sorry I crashed your wedding." He chuckled, leaning into his touch. "You only made it better." They stared into each other's eyes lovingly before someone interrupted them. Both looked to see SakuAtsu's father looking at them with anger. "Care to explain what the hell is going on?" he asked his son. SakuAtsu sighed and glanced over to Atsumu, who gave him a small smile of reassurance. "Father, I don't want to marry Suzuki. I want to marry him. I love him, not her." His father stayed quiet, looking between the two men. After what felt like hours of silence, the man sighed and let out a soft chuckle. "I'd hate for all of this planning and money to go to waste." He took a step towards Atsumu and patted him on the arm. "Do you love my son?" The blonde nodded. "I do. I really do love him, with all my heart." "Then I have no objections." Kayumi's father walked back to his seat next to his wife, who smiled at the couple. Many were stunned, many were whispering amongst themselves, but the officiant cleared their throat, gaining the attention of everyone. "Now, let's get these two married." They looked at Kayumi. "Do you want to say some vows?" "Yes. I may not have any prepared, but I want to say some things." "Alright, you may say your vows." The Ravenet faced Atsumu with a smile. He took a deep breath before starting. "Atsumu, I never thought this would happen, but I can't say I'm upset that it did. You're what I want in life. I want you to be by my side for the rest of our lives. Things may not have been perfect between us, but I'm ready to make up for it. I'll make it up to you every damn day till death do us part. I love you and I always will." He took a hold of Atsumu's hand and brought it to his lips, placing a kiss on the back of it. Looking up at the blonde, who was staring down at him, his lip wobbling and eyes filling up with tears. Kayumi smiled, holding their hands together as he brought his other one to caress Atsumu's cheek. "Don't cry, baby. I can't help it. I'm just so happy." He let out a soft chuckle. "I am too. It's your turn to say your vows." "Right." Atsumu quickly tried to wipe his eyes, sniffling. "Kayumi. My Omi, I love you so much. I can't put into words how much I do. We may have gotten together in a rather odd way, but honestly I wouldn't have it any other way. Though I wish I could have done a few things differently. I wouldn't have ran away from this. I wish I chose to stay. But you're here now. That's all that matters." "I hope so." "It is." Atsumu sniffled, tears trickling out his eyes. The officiant took a hold of each of their hands and brought them together. They linked hands and smiled at each other. The officiant stepped back, taking out their book and began to read out loud. "SakuAtsu Kayumi, do you take Mia Atsumu to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I do." "Now Mia Atsumu, do you take SakuAtsu Kayumi to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I do. And now by the power vested in me, it is my honor to declare you officially married. You may now seal your marriage with a kiss." Kayumi quickly pulled Atsumu into a kiss. Instantly the blonde wrapped his arms around his neck, keeping his close as their lips stayed patched together. As they pulled away, they smiled at each other with eyes full of love. "I am proud to present the newlyweds, Mr. and Mr. SakuAtsu Kayumi." The room erupted in noise, people clapping and cheering for the newly hitched couple. The couple laughed as they linked arms, walking down the aisle and out the building. Not leaving as the broken pair they once were. Atsumu wasn't leaving that place as Kayumi's side piece. He was leaving as the only person his Omi truly loved. The end.